Hi folks, today is October the 28th, 2024, and I'm going to talk to you about Coral Castle. And it was established in 1923, and I was there October 2nd last year visiting the site. Now, according to the postcard, the planets, Ed felt the planets were important. He carved Mars, Saturn, and the Moon. Mars weighs approximately 36,000 pounds. Next to Mars is Saturn, with its famous rings. It too weighs approximately a staggering 36,000 pounds. The crescent moon next to Saturn was called the Crescent of the East by Ed. It weighs approximately 46,000 pounds, and this piece was moved from Florida City. Mars and Saturn are part of the wall upon which they sit. Amazing. We think so. That was what's written on this postcard. On the other side. Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about Ed Molinsky's book, and it's called How to Read His Writings, the Unauthorized Guide to Decoding Edward Ledskallen's Works. All right, I'm going to go to this chapter on page 15, and you'll find that it says, science and religion and the stars, mathematics, sex and humour, they are all in his writings. To find them, however, besides having the knowledge, patience, and the right tools, you will need your wit, because that is what the game is all about. It is your wit against his, if you want to claim the prize. All right, that's a major clue on page 15 of this book. Now, this book's out of print, been for quite some time now. I've got a soft copy, which I'll put in the link description below, for those who don't have the book, because it's quite rare now. If you try to go on Amazon to try and find it, it's just not available. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go to Edward Ledskallen's Magnetic Current booklet, written in 1945. That's the copyright there. And when you go to page 3 of Magnetic Current, it says this writing is lined up, so when you read it, you look east, and all the description you will read about magnetic current, it will be just as good for your electricity. So he could have shortened that sentence. It's quite enigmatic. To the writing is lined up so that when you read it, you look east, and you read about magnetic current, it will be just as good for your electricity. Or he could have said, this writing is lined up, so when you read it, you look east, and it will be just as good for your electricity. So that would probably be a more concise way of expressing what he's going on about. However, he's purposely sort of made it a lot more specific so you can decode that line. Okay, so if we pay attention to the word writing, and we make an anagram of writing, what do we get? Okay, if we take out the W, we take out the I, and we take out the T, guess what? We've got the word wit. So we take those letters out of that word, and we're left with ring, R-I-N-G. Now, that's a major clue. So because if you go down to the line below, you'll find the word description. Okay, so don't forget we're doing decoding here. So what happens when you decode something, you want to look at the code, you take the DE out and that leaves code. So the same thing here with description. You take off the DE and you're left with script, and strip the rest of the word. You take away the ion, and you're left with script. Okay, what's another word for script? Oh, writing. Okay, so we do the exact same trick. We look at writing and we say, oh yes, take away the W, take away the I, and take away the T, and wit is there again. So that was described in this book twice, which I read to you before. That's in that sentence on page 15. And we're left with ring again. So that's funny, because when you go to Coral Castle, you are asked at the entrance to ring the bell twice. So ring appears here twice. Ring here up where it says writing and description in a roundabout way. So you press the button.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go. One.
Yeah.
Twice. But nevertheless, it's the same. So what I believe he's talking about, he's talking about trying to lift this block. Well, it's a method of lifting a block of heavy stone using electricity, because that's if you use electricity, that'd be quite a good way of doing it. But the way he does it magnetically that's the secret. That's the answer. R.L. Poole had a good analogy when you're using the ringing of a telephone. The generator, which puts out about 80 volts AC down the line, which will be equivalent to putting that pulse through a PMH, which is the perpetual motion holder, which he had on top of the telephone tripods that he was lifting the stones. So that all goes together quite well. So that's a bit of food for thought. And the other thing about this line too is many years ago I noticed that the very first word, this, if you're using other clues in this particular area of this book, magnetic current, magnetic is 8 letters, and you count back where it says lined up and insert insert a G from the writing into basically HTHIIS with this, and then you put it just for the 8, because that's 8 letters across going from east to west, because when he's doing these blocks of stones, he's going in a horizontal direction, I believe, as far as aligning the domains, or the field that he wants to influence to make the gravity go away, or the effects of gravity to go away. So yeah, so we're looking at a horizontal movement here. That's because if you look at a compass going from across on the sphere of an Earth, if you go from east to west, that's horizontal. But if you went from north to south, that's vertical. But he's not saying that. He's basically lining up horizontally in this instance. So what happens is that when you look at the words this and look at it backwards, and with the extra G in there, that word becomes sight. Now that's to do with, okay, you can't see without light. Now if we turn to the end of magnetic current, what you get on the very last word, funny enough, is light. You see, this shows that each magnet is smaller than each particle of light. He's talking about the individual magnetic monopoles, north and south. So it all ties in quite nicely, actually. All right. The other thing too is in this line here, you can decode twilight there too, which I've got. Yeah. It's that's in the PowerPoint. That's a bit more involved. I'll explain to it later. But going by this book here, it talks about cycles. And if I go down here on page 8, there's that number again, 8. Reader, ponder these words before you move on. They are not riddles, but a mere glimpse of truth. Is there a cycle where nothing becomes something and returns back nothing again, or where something can become nothing and return to something once more. Before dawn, was there not darkness that shadowed the light? We're talking a bit of twilight here. And before the dusk, was there not the light that illuminated the darkness? These wondrous temples and timeless gates of stone remain, but now in ruin and neglect. Have you ever asked yourself why mankind did not keep them in repair? Before the knowledge was there, not the ignorance that hindered the truth. Before the ignorance was there, not the truth that destroyed the knowledge. Did these architects leave because their task was done? Or was man's ignorance filled with their knowledge to rival them and block their passage of return? True knowledge can unveil unspeakable power, because the impossible can become just a mere barrier that can be shattered by the truth. Use restraint and practice your knowledge in a humble way. He emphasizes that. He says, use restraint and practice your knowledge in a humble way. Use it wise and true, because in a twinkle of an eye, ... I'm going to leave you with that. That's a good note to leave this little insight on, and happy days. See ya. Bye.
Why everyone came out here for is because of this. You see, back in the days, you saw I pushed the 6,000 pounder? All right, when this was working, this was 18,000 pounds. And it worked better than the 6,000 pounder over there, guys. A finger, you were able to push it around.